So, pleasant day everyone. I am KCC Bacos, and for the continuation of the discussion, I will be discussing to you the social functions of popular literature, starting with the entertainment function. Entertainment literature, known as pleasure reading. In this function, literature is used to entertain its readers, so it is consumed for the sake of one's enjoyment. Pleasure reading refers to reading literature for fun or entertainment. People read these books or stories simply because they enjoy them, not because they have to, but it's about reading for the pleasure of it. So, next, we have the social and political function. Literature shows how society works around them, so it helps the reader see the social and political constructs around him and shows the state of the people and the world around him. Literature serves as a mirror to society, reflecting its complexities, norms, and values. So, through stories, poetry, and other forms of literature, captures the social and political structures that shapes people's life. It allows reader to gain insights into different perspectives, highlighting issues like inequality, justice, and power dynamics. So by engaging with literature, readers can better understand the world around them, recognize societal patterns, and become more aware of the human condition and the forces that influence it. Next is the ideological function. Ideological function shapes our way of thinking based on ideas of other people. Literature also displays a person's ideology placed in the text consciously and unconsciously. Ideological function refers to how our thinking is influenced by the dominant ideas and beliefs of others, often shaped by society, culture, or those in power. In literature, an author's ideology, whether consciously or unconsciously, manifests through the themes, characters, and narratives they create. This means that a text often reflects the author's worldview, values, and assumptions, which can in turn shape how readers perceive and understand the world. So, through literature, these ideologies are communicated, challenged, or reinforced, influencing the collective mindset of the society. So, next is the moral function. Literature may impart moral values to its readers. The morals contained in a literary text, whether good or bad, are absorbed by whoever reads it, so thus helps in shaping their personality. Literature plays a crucial role in shaping the moral values of its reader by presenting themes, characters, and situations that reflect various ethical dilemmas and life's lessons. So, when readers engage with a literary text, they often empathize with the characters and reflect on the consequences of their actions. So, this process allows reader to internalize the moral lessons conveyed, whether they are positive or negative. So, over time, these absorbed morals contribute to the development of the reader's personality, influencing their beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors in real life. So, thus, literature not only entertains but also educates and molds the character of its audience. Next is the linguistic function. Literature preserves the language of every civilization from where it originated. They are also evidences that a certain civilization has existed by the recording the language and preserving it through the wide spans of time. So literature serves as a vital record of a civilization's language and culture, capturing the essence of its people, values, and experiences. So through stories, poetry, and other written forms, literature preserves the language of a society, allowing it to be passed down through generations. So this written record acts as evidence of civilization's existence, offering insights into its way of life and ensuring that its legacy endures across the time. So next, we have the cultural function. So literature orients us to the traditions, folklore, and the arts of our ethnic group's heritage. It preserves entire cultures and creates an imprint of the people's way of living for others to read, hear, and learn. Literature serves as a vital link to our ethnic heritage by encapsulating the traditions, folklore, and arts of our community. So it preserves the essence of a culture, offering insights into the beliefs, values, and daily lives of its people. So, through stories, poems, and other literary forms, it creates a lasting record that future generators can read, hear, and learn from. So, ensuring that the richness of our culture identify is passed down and understood by others. So, next is the educational function. Literature teaches us of many things about the human experience, so it is used to portray the facets of life that we see and those that we would never dream of seeing. Literature, therefore, is a conduct for the chance to experience and feel things where we can learn things about life. Literature serves as a mirror to the human experiences, reflecting both the familiar and the extraordinary aspects of life. So it allows us to explore different perspectives, emotions, and situations, offering insights into the complexities of human nature. So through literature, we can experience and understand lives and events beyond our own, gaining wisdom and empathy. So it becomes a powerful tool for learning about life as it connects us with universal truths and diverse experiences, broadening our understanding of the world and ourselves. So lastly, we have historical function. So ancient texts, illuminated scripts, and stone tablets are vital historical records that capture the events, beliefs, and knowledge of the societies that created them. So these artifacts serve as time capsules, preserving the thoughts and cultures of past civilization for future generations. So, scholars and researchers study these documents to understand historical context, societal norms, and the evolution of language and ideas. So, by analyzing these ancient records, they can piece together the history of human civilization, offering insight into how people lived, communicated, and perceived the world in the different eras. So, do you have any questions or any other clarification? So, okay, if none, let's now proceed to the types of literary criticism, in which we will be discussing nine criticisms. So, okay, let's have first the archetypal criticism. So, it is a critical theory that interprets a text by focusing on symbols, images, and character types in literary works that is used to discuss in plot, character, or situation. So it recognizes conscious and unconscious symbols that relates to emotions, values, feelings to specific images. So it encourages the readers to examine basic beliefs, fear, and anxieties. Archetypal criticism examines recurring symbols, images, and character types, archetypes in literature. So, like the hero or the journey which resonate universally across cultures. These archetypes connect with deep human emotions and experiences, allowing how readers to uncover underlying themes and values in a text. So next is the cultural criticism. So it focuses on the elements of culture and how they affect one's perceptions and understanding of text. So cultural criticism explores how cultural elements such as ethnicity, religion, and social class influence the interpretation of texts. So, ethnicity, religious beliefs, social class, and etc. are crucial components in formulating plausible interpretation of text. So, factors like ethnicity, religion, and social class are vital for interpreting a text because they shape the perspective and experiences of both the author and the reader. So, while the emphasis is on diversity of approach and subject matter, cultural criticism is not the only mean of understanding ourselves and our art, but the cultural criticism also emphasizes diversity in examining texts, as it recognizes that it's one of many ways to understand literature and ourselves. So, an examination or exploration of the relationship between dominant cultures and the dominated is essential. Understanding the relationship between dominant and marginalized culture is crucial, so as it reveals how literature can reflect or challenge societal power structures. So, when looking at the text through the perspective of marginalized peoples, new understandings emerge from. So, analyzing text from the viewpoint of marginalized groups can lead to new and often deeper interpretation, uncovering voices and experiences that are otherwise overlooked. So the third criticism is the feminist criticism. So it is a product of the feminist movement of the 1960s and 1970s. So it is the representation of women in literature as an expression of the social norms about women and their social roles and as a means of socialization. So feminist criticism analyzes the representation of women in literature, especially how patriarchal ideologies shape their portrayal. So it critiques gender roles and advocates for the inclusion of women's experiences and perspectives in literary analysis. So next, we have the psychoanalytic criticism. So based on Sigmund Freud ego and superego, the author's own childhood affects the book and character. It is a type of criticism that uses theories of psychology to analyze literature. It focuses on the author's state of mind or the state of the mind of fictional character. So, psychoanalytic criticism applies psychological theories, especially Freud's, to literature. So, it explores how unconscious desires and conflicts influence both the author's writing and the character's behaviors, offering insights into deeper psychological meanings in the text. So next is we have the Marxist criticism. So it applies political science and economics to the study of literature. Grew out of writings of Karl Marx, who was highly critical of the capitalist system of economics and politics. It concerned with the issues of class conflict and materialism, wealth, work, and the various ideologies that surrounds these things. So it connotes higher class do control arts, literature, and ideologies. So kaning Marxist criticism, it examines literature through the lens of the class struggle and economic power. So it analyzes how texts reflect or critique capitalist ideologies focusing on issues of wealth, labor, and the influence of the ruling class on culture and literature. So Marxism as compared to feminist and new historicism. Marxism shares with feminism a focus on literature as a tool for social change or maintaining the status quo. So, like New Historicism, Marxism examines the influence of history on literature. So, here are the steps on how to do Marxist reading. So, first, look for examples of oppression, bad working conditions, class struggles, and other related issues. So, identify class themes. So, look for depictions of oppression, poor working conditions, and class conflicts with the text. So, for the second one is search for the covert meaning underneath the overt, which is about class struggles, historical stages, and economic conditions. So, uncover the hidden meaning. So, analyze the underlying messages about class struggles, historical development, and economic conditions beneath the surface narrative. So, the third one is relate the context of a work to the social class status of the author. So, author's social context. So, consider how the author's social class background may influence the themes and perspectives in the work. So the fourth one is to relate the literary work to the social conditions of its time period. So relate the literary work to the social and economic conditions prevalent during the time it was written. So the fifth one is explain an entire genre in terms of its social period. So you explain how an entire literary genre reflects the social and economic realities of its era. So for the sixth one, show how literature is shaped by political, economic, labor, and class conditions. So political and economic influences. So this show how literature is influenced by the political, economic, and class dynamics of its time. So new criticism or the formalism structuralism. This means that a new criticism is a mid-20th century literary theory that emphasizes how close reading to analyze a text as a self-contained work. So it focuses on the structure, language, and literary devices within the text, disregarding external factors like the author's intentions or historical content. So, formalism. This refers to the critical approaches that analyze, interpret, or evaluate the inherent features of a text. So, these features include not only the grammar and syntax, but also literary devices such as meter and figures of speech. So, it is being said that formalism is a way of analyzing literature by focusing only on the text itself. It looks closely at the structure, language, and the literary techniques like grammar, rhythm, and figures of speech used by the author. So next is the New Historicism. It was first developed in 1980 by the American critic Stephen Greenbelt. So it is based on the idea that literature should be studied and interpreted within a wide context, examining both how the author's time, in return recognizing that current culture context color the critic's conclusion. So this means that his new historicism is a literary theory that analyzes literature by considering the historical and cultural context of the time it was written. So next we have the post-structuralism. So it offers a way of studying how knowledge is produced and critiques structuralism premise. So it rejects the idea of a literary text having a single purpose, a single meaning, or one singular existence. So this means that post-structuralism is a theory that critiques the idea of fixed meaning in text, rejecting the notion that a literary work has just one purpose or meaning. So next, let's have the post-structuralistic critic. So it must be able to utilize a variety of perspectives to create a multifaceted interpretation of a text, even if these 75 interpretations conflict with one another. So this means that post-structuralist critique uses multiple, sometimes conflicting perspectives to interpret a text. This approach embraces the idea that a text can have many meanings, allowing for a more complex and layered analysis rather than a single, unified interpretation. So lastly, we have the reader response criticism. So reader response criticism is a theory that it emphasizes the reader's role in creating the meaning of a text. So it argues that a literary work only comes to life through the reader's interpretation and experience, making the reader's interaction with the text central to its understanding rather than focusing on the author's intent or the text structure. So the role of the reader is pivotal in the understanding of literature. They can use a psychoanalytical, structural, feminist, and other approaches to formulate their criticism. So this means that in reader response criticism, the reader plays a crucial role in interpreting literature. So they can use any approach, just such as the psychoanalytic, the structural, or the feminist, or the others, to create their own unique understanding of the text. So next, readers are active in the reading process, so they cannot read literature passively but must react and therefore bring meaning to the text. So in reader response criticism, readers are seen as active participants in the reading process. So they don't just passively absorb the text. Instead, they engage with it, so reacting and contributing their own interpretations, which bring meaning to the work. So, in summary, literary criticism provides various methods for analyzing literature, each focusing on different aspects like symbols, social contexts, power dynamics, and reader interaction. So, that's the end of my report. Do you have any questions or any other clarifications? So, if none, thank you so much for listening and have a great day.